Yo people, welcome back to another video. I hope everyone is having a great day. So the Mandalorian Season 3 trailer dropped a few days ago, and for me it was very good. The hype is definitely there. The thing I'm looking forward to the most is seeing Grogu's backstory getting filled out. Hopefully we finally get to see what happened to him during Order 66. However, the more the trailer went on, the more I thought that this show is going to start having to make more connections with the sequels, which I know most people don't like the sequels, including myself. We already saw that in Season 2 of The Mandalorian that the Empire has been working on what seemed like a Snoke clone, or there was some sort of Snoke looking thing in that blue chamber, so we can see the connections are already starting. Now, I know that for some people the sequels are completely irredeemable because of what happened to Luke Skywalker, and I completely understand that, which may be a reason that maybe you're not looking forward to Mandalorian Season 3, or some people are just dreading the fact that we are slowly but surely reaching that moment. I think the likelihood of redeeming the entire sequels is maybe at like a 5%, maybe a little bit higher, but overall very, very unlikely. I really hope it does work because I do want to like the sequels, but they give me nothing to build off of. So hopefully they can start to fill out the blanks. But one thing I do believe with shows like Mandalorian Season 3, Ahsoka, the Skeleton Crew, which are coming out this year, is that they will do exactly that. They will be good shows to start explaining more in that time jump between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. One of the main issues I do have though with the sequels was that they would always present ideas, potentially interesting themes and storylines, but they'd never explain how it happened. They never showed any build-up. They never hinted towards it. It just kind of just ended up appearing randomly. It was just event after event after event, and it seemed a bit rushed. And bear in mind, there's a reason why George Lucas said that trilogies take 10 years to make. That's why he didn't make the sequels, because it took 10 years. He wanted to settle down now with his family, etc. All the sequel films, all three of them, got released between 2015 to 2019, which further proves the point that you need to spend a long time, otherwise you're going to get trash. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that the prequels also got absolutely dunked on when they first came out, and despite it not being even half of the mess that the sequels are, I feel like there's 4 reasons as to why there's been a shift from hating the prequels to liking the prequels. And the reasons are, number 1, the kids that grew up with the prequels have now grown up, and we have an online social media presence. So now we've grown up. Before we didn't have a voice, now we do. Number 2, there's people that are kind of riding the wave. They don't want to look bad in front of everyone. They don't want to have that hater look on them, so they ride the wave, change opinions, whatever. Number 3, the sequels were that bad that for some people it made the prequels look good or better than what they had originally thought. But the most important of all the reasons is the Clone Wars animated series. The Clone Wars animated series might be the most clutch piece of content that Star Wars has released, but the reason it's so loved, other than it's a chance to see some of our favourite characters again, is because they fill out so much of the story that didn't fit into the prequels. They add a lot more dimension to our characters, also characters that we weren't too familiar with or didn't get enough time in the movies got their chance to shine. A lot more backstory, a lot more stuff got filled out about themselves and how they fit into the story. The addition of new characters as well. We were introduced to plenty of new characters. Ahsoka, Cad Bane, Ventress, Savage, only added to the story. And as we saw with Season 7, Clone Wars allowed us to relive the events of the films, in this case Revenge of the Sith, but through Ahsoka's path, which filled out even more of that clutch piece of the story. Now, the question is, how many of you would be open to seeing a sequels version of the Clone Wars? Because me personally, I'd be up for it. The bar is so low with the sequels that any addition to it would just make it look better. I think it's just that bad that anything would improve it. Maybe it could focus on Kylo Ren, who I'd have to say, by the looks of it, is most people's favourites from the sequels. I know it's not saying much, but that's one character they can pick up on and kind of improve his own story. Even without a sequels-based show, I feel like all the other shows that I mentioned earlier, Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka, etc., will chip into this timeline and improve it. And we will finally get to understand at least how the First Order came to be. Because one thing we were never shown in The Force Awakens was how they appeared, because They just appeared out of nowhere. They were already existing. And the only kind of thing that they kind of hinted at, or if we just took it in its literal terms, was that the First Order came because Luke Skywalker went into hiding. So you're telling me a whole evil organization that is galaxy-wide just took over because one guy decided to vanish. It doesn't really make sense. I know there's more to it, and we will explore it with these shows. And I think the biggest winners from all of this at the moment will be The Force Awakens, which was already everyone's least hated out of the three. As for The Mandalorian Season 3, I think the stakes are the highest they've ever been. And I do believe that the bad guys, whoever they end up being, I know Moff Gideon will be a part of it, but I do think that they will end up winning this season. And I look forward to that because it sets up Season 4 nicely. And obviously, we still have a lot of interesting storylines. Like I mentioned earlier, Grogu, we get to see his path and what happened to him in Order 66. We get to see potential returns for Luke, Ahsoka, maybe Boba Fett. We get to see Moff Gideon shine. I know he's going to be super clutch to this season. I'll be very surprised if he isn't. We also got the whole Darksaber situation. We get to go back to Mandalore. It's going to be crazy. I think this will definitely be better than Season 2. I think the benchmark is still Season 1 for this series. I think it will top Season 1 just because of the stakes. I feel like the storyline was very good in Season 1, but it just didn't have these stakes that we have now. So I do look forward to this season. I hope I don't hype it up too much in my head. I will have to kind of reduce the standards once it comes out, so I don't expect anything. But yeah, as always, shout out to you guys for making it this far. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Do you think a show for the sequels that connects the gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, other than the shows that we're getting, would be helpful for the sequels or not? You're done with it? Let me know what you think. I appreciate you for making it this far. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll catch you in the next one.